You were never the hunter in this room.
6 weeks after Kepler Station, the galaxy was holding its breath. The Conclave had not spoken publicly. No declaration, no retaliation, no second fleet on the scanners. Just silence, the kind that doesn't mean nothing happened. The kind that means something worse is being prepared quietly, in the dark, by people who do not make the same mistake twice. Commander Yara Solis knew this. She sat in the briefing room of Kepler Station drinking black coffee and reading the same intelligence report for the third time. 17 Conclave communication relays had gone dark in the past 2 weeks. Not destroyed, not malfunctioned. Dark, deliberately switched off, which meant they didn't want anyone tracking signal traffic between their worlds. That meant they were moving something they didn't want seen. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Reno Coro, stood at the doorway. He was 29. Sharp eyes, quiet voice. Former intelligence analyst before he became a soldier. "It's not a fleet," he said. Solis looked up. "A fleet would show up on mass displacement sensors even with the relays dark," he continued. "Whatever they switch those relays off for, it's small, fast, singular." Solis set down her coffee. They had both read the Conclave's historical files, 6 years of intercepted data, translated and cataloged by humanity's intelligence division. They knew about the Vethkai, the Conclave's most classified program. Not soldiers, not warships, instruments. Single operatives grown in silence, trained for decades, inserted into targets like needles into skin. No one had ever seen one and lived to describe what they looked like. The Conclave didn't send the Vethkai when they were angry. They sent them when they were embarrassed. Solis stood up slowly. "Lock down the station," she said, "and give me an open channel to the Conclave's Grand Assembly." Okoro blinked. "You want to call them?" "Not yet," she said. "I want them to know the channel is open. I want them watching when I'm not afraid." It came aboard on day 43. Not through a docking bay. Not through a breach in the hull. It came through the water reclamation intake, a passage so narrow a human couldn't fit. The Vethkai was not built like a human. It had no name on record, no file in any database humanity had ever cracked. It was listed in one single intercepted Conclave document, simply as Instrument 7. It moved through the station's lower infrastructure like water moves through cracks, patient, purposeless-looking, inevitable. Deo was the one who almost walked into it. He was making his rounds through the lower maintenance corridor at 300 hours when his motion sensor gave a single half-second flicker and went still. He stopped, looked at the reading, looked at the empty corridor ahead. He was 19 years old and had never fired a weapon at a living thing. He pressed the comm in his collar twice, the prearranged signal that meant, "I found something." "Don't respond. Just listen." Across the station, 11 people began moving without a word. This was the part the Conclave had not accounted for. The Vethkai was the greatest solo weapon in 800 years of Conclave history. It had been inserted into 11 targets across 4 species. 11 confirmed kills. 0 witnesses. 0 failures. It operated on a single foundational assumption that had never once been wrong. No one would be ready for something they had never seen before. But Solis had spent 6 weeks preparing for exactly this. Not because she knew the Vethkai was coming. Because she had learned, in the water wars, in the ruins, in the years of building engines from dead parts, that the only enemy you cannot prepare for is the one you assume isn't coming. She had assumed it was coming. She had built the net before she knew what she was catching. They didn't capture Instrument 7 with weapons. They captured it with a room. Solis had quietly converted Bay 7 into what appeared, on every scan, every frequency, every detection method the Conclave's technology supported, to be her private quarters. Her actual quarters had been empty for 11 days. Bay 7 had her heat signature, her movement patterns recorded and replayed on a loop, her coffee maker running on a timer. It was not a decoy. It was an invitation. Instrument 7 entered Bay 7 at 0340 hours and found Commander Yara Solis sitting at a desk, facing the door, hands flat on the table, waiting. It stopped. In 11 missions across 4 species, no target had ever been sitting up, facing the entrance at 0340 in the morning. The Vethkai's entire operational framework was built on surprise, on the frozen second of recognition, on the gap between understanding what is happening and being able to stop it. Solis had removed that gap entirely. "I know you can't negotiate," she said calmly. "I know you were sent to end this quietly. I know the Conclave believes that if I'm gone, the gravity anchor dies with me." She paused. "They're wrong about that too. But that's not why I'm talking to you." She slid a data chip across the desk. "That chip contains one thing," she said. "The coordinates of every Vethkai facility the Conclave has ever built. Every training site, every subject file, every mission record. We've had it for 4 years. We haven't used it." The instrument did not move. "I'm not asking you to defect," Solis continued. "I'm asking you to deliver a message. Walk back to whoever sent you. Hand them that chip. And tell the Grand Assembly that humanity has been holding this information for 4 years and chose not to use it. Tell them we are not interested in destroying the Conclave." She met the instrument's eyes without flinching. "Tell them we are only interested in what comes next." Instrument 7 left Kepler Station the same way it arrived. No shots fired. No blood. No body. 48 hours later, for the first time in 6 weeks, a Conclave communication relay came back online. Then another. Then 12 more in rapid succession. Not dark anymore, but broadcasting openly, which in Conclave diplomatic language meant only one thing. They wanted to be heard. Praetor Senhov appeared on the channel personally. He looked older than his file photo. The kind of older that comes not from time, but from the specific experience of being wrong about something catastrophic in front of 800 years of institutional history. He did not apologize. The Conclave did not apologize to species it classified as subjects. But he said 4 words that had not been spoken in 8 centuries of Conclave expansion. "We propose formal dialogue." In the background of the transmission, barely visible, Okoro pressed his fist against his mouth to keep from making a sound. Deo, standing at the back of the bridge, set down his coffee mug very carefully, like a person who has just realized they are living inside a moment that will be studied for 1,000 years. Solis looked at the Praetor's face on the screen. She thought about the chip she had held for 4 years without using. She thought about every species in the galaxy that had been filed under the word subjects and had been watching humanity since Kepler Station. She thought about her brother. Then she leaned forward and spoke the words that every enslaved species in 43 star systems heard simultaneously on open broadcast. "We accept, and we're bringing everyone to the table." The channel stayed open. The Conclave did not close it. They sent their best weapon to silence one woman. She sent it back carrying a message. Because humanity never learned to win by being the strongest force in the room. We learned to win by being the only ones who showed up already knowing how the room worked. You don't fear the species with the biggest weapon. You fear the species that had the weapon to end you and chose to talk first. Humanity defiant. Always.